Hello, Bolt fans, and welcome to another episode of ChargersCast. Not going to go into a whole lot of introductions here because we have a ton of stuff to cover in this podcast. But quickly, I'm your host, Kirk Brewer, and ChargersCast is a podcast about everything Los Angeles Chargers by fans for fans. So glad to have you with us. Appreciate you hanging out with us, talking about our beloved Chargers. As you can see, once again, this week, the goal is we're going to be able to do this week in and week out and keep our schedules aligned. But once again, this week, we've got Brennan Isham from Chargers District, another diehard Chargers fan, joining us to go over what we've got to chat about this week, which is our Week 3 contest against the Denver Broncos in SoFi Stadium. That was our official home opener. And then we'll do a little bit of a preview on the Week 4 away game in New York against the Giants. Brennan, good to see you, my friend. We have a ton to talk about. How are you doing? I think we're all doing better after a W, right?
Yes, sir. Yeah, it was a little nerve-wracking throughout the whole game, but wouldn't be a Charger game without that. So doing good. Good to be back on the pod and get excited to talk about the game and the preview of the next game with the Giants.
Yeah, there's a lot to talk about. You know, I tell my wife all the time, that's a typical Chargers game, is there's always drama, you know, and historically we give them away under previous leadership. But, we'll talk about that a little bit this game with the new leadership. And, I told her I'd be perfectly fine if every Chargers game we won by 40 points. There was no drama. It was just from, start to finish, just a complete blowout every week forever. I would die a happy man. I don't necessarily need those contests where they're close and contested, especially after 40 plus years of the opposite. So when we do get those occasional, start to finish, we just take care of our business. Those are a luxury we don't get very often. And this game in Week 3 against the Denver Broncos, it's a divisional game. So typically those games are pretty tough. And the Denver Broncos, at least here in recent history, have been sporting a pretty damn good defense, and now they're starting to develop an offense to go along with it. And so I think we all knew division games are always tough, but this was going to be a tough out. I think we both thought we were going to get the W at the end of the day. Maybe not the way we got it, but we knew Denver wasn't going to come in here and lay down. They had an opportunity to take us out and be tied for first in the division. So why don't you give me your overarching kind of assessment of this game, and love to hear your thoughts on it.
Yeah, so I thought it was a pretty good game. Very back and forth, but overall I think it was just a good win. I think it was a good statement win. I know you like staying under the radar when it comes to hype, but we're getting super hyped. We're like number 3 or 4 in every power ranking. It feels good for me, though, because we're always getting crapped on, or we're always like 17th or 18th on the power rankings, and it's just always like I can only want to stay under the radar too much. So it's cool when we're finally getting our flowers after some wins. 3 division wins especially, it shows.
Yeah, it's a double-edged sword, Brennan. As fans, we always believe the best of our team, and we want to see him get recognized. But for as long as I've been watching the team, the best teams we've ever put together that have made the playoffs and go the furthest in the playoffs have always been the teams that were underrated. It's the history, right? And so that's why I prefer it. But trust me, as a fan, I love to be able to go to every website and watch every TV station. And, these days we now have social media. I'm a guy that, I existed long before social media existed. So it's a whole nother outlet. You sit there and scroll and you're just getting all sorts of Chargers content. It's awesome. I've just seen in the past, and Harbaugh should keep these guys from getting big heads. You've got the Derwin Jameses and Tony Jeffersons and some of those guys who have been around a little while to maybe keep people from getting big heads. Khalil Mack for sure. So it is. It's a double-edged sword. As a fan, I love to see it. But as a fan who wants to see the Chargers go get a Lombardi trophy, I'm sitting there going, history tells me we will do better if we continue to fly under the radar screen. So, I agree with you on all fronts. Number one, big division game, 3 in a row, which we knew, right? This is the gauntlet that we're going to start out the season. We're going to find out about our Chargers. The first 3 games, we're going to find out about our Chargers. They traveled long distance, prime time, all division, and the best thing we could have ever dreamed of is that we were going to sweep those games and come out of them 3-0. And we did it. We freaking did it. We made it through. This past week was tougher than the previous 2, I would say. It was definitely tougher, but big division win, 23-20. We are now the division leaders at 3-0. And it's 3-0 in the division, which is huge. You could almost say we're 6-0, right? Because each one counts as 2. We win 1, they lose 1, right? And so that is absolutely awesome. Yeah, absolute statement win for the Chargers. And I think that's why you're starting to see the kind of the hype out there from all the media pundits, and of course, Justin doing Justin stuff. All of a sudden, these guys are like, oh, Justin's awesome. It's like, no, Justin's always been awesome. He just hasn't had the supporting cast to, be able to step up when he makes those kind of plays, have those plays make a difference in the game where the D holds up their end of the bargain and the freaking kicker makes the goddamn kick, right? I mean, all those pieces are working together under Harbaugh, which I'm officially dubbing, by the way. It's the Harbaugh Effect, okay? What we are seeing season 2, year 2 under Harbaugh is the Harbaugh Effect. The team, they got each other's backs. And yeah, it's NFL. You're going to have periods of time where things go against you. You make a mistake because you're never perfect. The other team's getting paid too, but they have the intestinal fortitude to stick it out and play the full 60 minutes and pull a win out of what should have been. At one point in that game, it was 90% chance Denver was going to win that game, right? We let it get away from us, but we came back and we got it done. Absolutely awesome. The only other thing I'll say from a big picture standpoint, and we'll drill down on this, is we essentially dominated this game in every statistical category, with the exception of turnovers. But time of possession, yards gained, first down. We got 29 first downs in this game. That's insane. 29 first downs. Third down conversions, we dominated in that category too. Time of possession was 36 minutes to 24 minutes, right? So like every category we dominated in, but we had a couple turnovers and the defense had a couple, 3 missed coverages. Fortunately for us, they only hit on one of them. And so that's the big overall take. Huge win for the Chargers. Every reason to be hyped up. Harbaugh's doing what Harbaugh does and getting this team to play like a team, and lots to be optimistic about going forward.
Yeah, I agree. Digging a little deeper into this, I think it was a pretty good game. I think we already knew it was going to be a clash. I think it was going to be a harder game than the Chiefs and Raiders game. We just always, the last couple of years, we've always had close games with Denver, which it's been a little different from the Chiefs game where it's always back and forth with us. Like last year, we had a comeback win against them, and this year we kind of did as well. So it's always an interesting game with Denver, but our defense definitely showed signs a little bit of fatigue throughout the game based on errors. There were a lot of good things they did as well, but it's only one game and they can only stay like super super elite for so long. I still think it was a great game for them because they had Denver's offense for only 20 points. So we did that a lot last year and it showed wins.
Yeah. If our defense can keep a team under 20 points, it should be very few occasions, if any, that this offense, especially with the new weapons that Justin has, shouldn't be able to put up 20.
Yeah.
On any given Sunday. I mean, it's an offensive-driven league to begin with, but I mean, let's give kudos for all of the things that we didn't do well. Let's give kudos to Denver on both sides of the ball. Their offense has become very scrappy. Cortland Sutton, you can't ignore that dude. That dude's a baller. And their defense is it's a tough defense. And hats off to Vance Joseph. That dude is major aggressive. And I love that. If he was my D coordinator, which I wouldn't, by the way, I wouldn't swap him for Jesse Mentor, don't get me wrong. But he's the kind of defensive coordinator, which is, no, we're not going to just sit back and let them come to us. We're going to go after them. A few statistics. Justin was sacked 5 times. He was hit 14 times, and he was under pressure 55% of his dropbacks. And that's due to 2 things. Number one, the aggressiveness and the talent of the, they've got some good pass rushers on that team. And then the other, and of course, Vance Joseph's being aggressive, calling aggressive plays. And then the other is, there's still some concerns on our line. And then we have Becton go down, which we'll talk about a little bit. So Salyer had to come in. Pip went out a couple times, which you know how I feel about Pip. I love him as a backup, but he concerns me as a starter. And, he battled. I got to take my hat off to him. He battled, but oh my goodness, it was a battle all day long. And Justin, that kid's probably black and blue. I mean, he was getting roughed up all day.
Yeah, even Joe Alt let one go through. Joe Alt's right. Joe Alt, but it just shows that how good their line or how they were just tearing our line apart. Because if Joe lets one through, they're good. So, because he doesn't just let any random person go through. So, going into some stats,
Benito beat him one-on-one.
Yep, yeah, and Benito's and I was talking a little bad when it was a little step back from their last games, but Derwin James had 12 total tackles, 1 sack. He killed it. It showed his all-proness. Tony Jefferson got in there a good amount. Benjamin St. Juste had a really good pass breakup. I don't know if you remember that, but that was as clean as it can get, and that's all you can ask for a cornerback. So, those guys definitely stood out to me when it comes to the defense. I know a lot of people like this guy, but he is a liability. Alohi Gilman. That guy, I watched the breakdown, and people are saying it wasn't his fault based off Derwin, and there was another guy down there that should have pushed up. But it has happened so many times to him that it cannot be a coincidence anymore. Although he is known for getting burnt on those deep balls, and that was just that one hurt to see, especially on a 4th and 2 when they're going to do something. So
yeah, and I believe, I could be wrong on this, but I believe we were in man on that play versus zone, which is a liability for us most of the time. I think we'd literally play zone 95% of the time and man maybe 5% of the time, just to kind of keep the offense honest. And I'm an Alohi fan. However, the first 3 games of the season, I agree 100%. He has been a liability on those broken coverages. And we've had every game, we've at least had one major broken coverage. And there's Alohi trying to catch up.
I love him on our team, but honestly, I think the three guys, and one of them earned it. I don't know why they keep putting him on the practice squad. Tony Jefferson, Elijah Molden, and Derwin James, those three right there are easily a top 10 safety trio in the league. It's not even close. A lot of people don't even have that three elite guys like that. So I think that they should run those guys and put Alohi in when Derwin or Tony needs to go out or Elijah Molden needs to go out. I think they are playing him a little more because of Elijah Molden's injury, Alohi Gilman, also Tony as well. But hopefully it changes a little bit and they see that. Also, CJ Gardner-Johnson just got released. So, I mean, I'm not saying they're going to get rid of Alohi for CJ, but if you want to win a Super Bowl, that is not a bad idea because CJ Gardner-Johnson is a legit vet that doesn't get burnt by wide receiver threes like Alohi Gilman does. So, like, he didn't get burnt by wide receiver three last time. I'm pretty sure it was Cortland Sutton, so that's regardless, or Mims, one of them, regardless. The dude he has his flashes here and there with some good pass breakups, like Deion Henley's first interception against the Raiders on the first play. That was because Alohi Gilman shot in like a rocket. So, and he's good at forcing fumbles, but when you want him to do his job, which is guarding a receiver, it seems like he doesn't know how to do that. So he's a ball hawk, but when it comes to guarding the guy, what he's supposed to do, it doesn't seem like he's doing too well. And I'm not the only one. I know Charger fans, I see it on Twitter all the time, just ripping into him. It's sad to see. He's a good vet, but you can only take so much if you want to win a Super Bowl. I think Charger fans are fed up. We want to win. Fan favorites are cool, but I could care less if we like them or not. I want elite players on our team.
Yeah, well, and you guys know how I stand. At the end of the day, I'm a Chargers fan. I'm not a player fan. Doesn't mean I'm not a fan of a lot of players, but I'm a Chargers fan first. And, we're way overdue for a Super Bowl. And, so at the end of the day, get us a Super Bowl. Do what you need to do to get us a Super Bowl. It just feels like Alohi's having some letdowns here. Maybe he'll get his crap together as things roll on. But I will go out right now. And while I understand why they've put Tony on the practice squad as far as a kind of playing a chess game with their players, don't do that anymore. Tony should. He's one of our best safeties. He's smart as hell. He's a coach on the field. He's a baller. He's a ball hawk. He's not an old man yet. I mean, he's shown that between what he's seen in his experience over the years in the league, that at least buys him one step. And then he's got the rest of the steps physically, and he's a ball hawk and a baller. So they need to keep him active. They don't need to put him back down on the practice squad and bring him up. Keep him active. He's a contributor in so many different ways that don't involve Sundays. But guess what? He balls out on Sunday too. And Harb says this all the time. We're going to play the best players. How do you know what the best players are? They play the best. Well, I don't know about you, but when I look at the deep DBs, the safeties, Tony's one of the best players. And my eyes aren't lying to me. He's one of the best players. So if you're going to be the best team, play the best players, stop putting Tony down. Keep Tony up. Don't risk somebody else going and snatching him off the damn practice squad because they need a veteran presence like he brings. He's a San Diego boy. He wants to be there. They're not paying him the massive dollars. He's made his money already. He just wants to ball out and, win another championship. So, I'm a big Jefferson fan, if you can't tell.
Yeah, I just think it's funny because personally for me, I think he's pretty elite. So I just don't see it's a chess game, but he's so elite. Why do that with him and keep Kendall Williamson on our team. Like that makes no sense. Make him the chess piece. Because correct me if I'm wrong, but if you're on the practice squad, I'm pretty sure any 53-man roster could sign you if you're on a practice squad. So
and you don't get right of first refusal.
and so that would suck if a team sneakily did that to us, and they're like, well, now we should have done that with Kendall Williamson, because I can tell you he's nowhere near the level that Tony is. So it's just like, it's kind of frustrating with those little things, because like I get it on the chess match part of it, but why do that with him? He's too elite. That makes no sense. It's like doing that with like a Keenan Allen or something, or like a Quentin Johnston. It makes no sense. He's one of our elite players on defense, you know?
I agree 100%. Yeah. And if you want to win a Super Bowl this season, I'm going to tell you right now, Tony Jefferson's going to contribute to that 1,000,000% more than Williamson.
100%.
They may see Williamson as a long-term guy that they don't want to risk losing. I get it. But worry about next year's Super Bowl next year. We're playing this season for this Super Bowl, and Tony's going to be a massive contributor to that. I mean, the intangibles that he brings are insane.
Yeah, I agree. Kind of going a little towards it, like towards a different direction. I'll let you piggyback after this, but going more to the offense side of it. It was funny because last week I said that Najee Harris deserves way more of the snaps than Amari and Hampton. With turn of events, Amarian stepped up. I know I said something different last week, but he stepped up. He had 19 carries, 70 yards, and a touchdown. And he also had 6 receptions and 59 yards, which was the third best in the receiving for us. So he killed it as a back right there. That's a perfect performance. So I wanted to highlight that. And then obviously going into the Najee Harris thing, which really sucks. But I also saw something that I kind of agree with. It's kind of playing devil's advocate. I want to hear what you think about it. But to be honest, it didn't really even... It's not too big of an impact in my opinion. It didn't really feel... I saw someone tweet it. It doesn't really feel like Najee Harris was on the team in the first place, which I can understand based off the fact that right when he starts practicing, he gets shot with a firework in the eyes. And then he's out for all of training camp, doesn't play week 1, barely plays week 2, and then gets injured week 3. He didn't have a full game playing with us at all. So we didn't really see. We know what he can do based off 4 years in Pittsburgh. But honestly, when it comes to the impact of it, I think Khalil Mack's injury was way more impactful than Najee Harris's. Because next man up, I think Hassan Haskins and Vidal, who Harbaugh said's next man up, can do just fine. We never saw what Najee's doing, so you can't say that we would have been better with him because we never saw what he could do. So it's a different take on it, but
yeah, and it's interesting. I mean, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. He's out for the season, right?
Yep.
I would argue that what we did see of Najee when he did play was the Najee we expected. Okay, reliable. He's rarely getting stopped in the backfield. He's at least falling forward for 2 or 3 yards. And, God forbid they do an arm tackle on him or something. Now he's 5, 6, 7 yards. I saw that out of him in the limited work that he got through these first game and a half that he played. But it was a very pleasant surprise to see Omarion step up, which he absolutely did. And if he's now going to be the bell cow at running back, because there's no competition for the number 1 RB1 spot, and so he's going to get the majority of the carries, and the other guys are going to give him a blow from now, time and again. And I think they'll have some special stuff for Haskins. He's got a skill set that I think they like to bring in on certain plays. We'll see what this kid's, he's number 1 pick. We're going to go, we're going to use him. He's going to get out there and he's going to get to prove, why he was a number 1 pick. The line needs to step up a little bit more for him, which is going to be a theme about this game as we're reviewing it. Denver brought the heat, and our line, allowed Justin to get beat up pretty bad, sacked a lot, hit a lot, scrambling for his life. Thank God Justin can scramble for his life and throw across his body 30 yards down the field for a touchdown. Because without that, we don't win that game. But I'm looking forward to seeing what Hampton can do when he's like, the true RB1 in the NFL. I'm optimistic that he's going to be able to get the job done.
Yeah, it was just interesting because it was very funny. Charger fans are going to be like, dude, you just said the opposite about Najee and Amari in last game. But with turn of events and how they performed and like what happened, I mean, you couldn't ask for anything better from Amarian, and I just thought that take was pretty interesting. But another guy, a rookie that flashed, Oronde Gadsden, had a really, really good game in the fourth quarter. 5 receptions, 46 yards, and a almost 9.5 yard average. So if he plays like that multiple more games, he's going to be a clear-cut tight end 1. Disley, is Disley injured?
Yes.
Okay, so I didn't see any of him, and Tyler Conklin dropped a pretty bad pass. It was like kind of just a check down pass, and he wide open and dropped it. There was a little traffic there, but all I'm saying is if Oronde keeps playing like that and how the other guys are performing to their certain extent, I think he's going to be a clear-cut 1 if he keeps it up, because every one of his catches was almost wide open, except that sick toe tap on the sidelines. But that one was sick. But I want to hear your thoughts on him. How do you think he performed? What were your thoughts on him?
First thought was I was really excited that he finally was active for week 3. Was really disappointed the first 2 weeks that he wasn't active because I know I read how hard he was working in the off season during OTAs and training camp. They were raving about his work ethic, coming in super, super early, getting into the playbook, getting out there, getting extra reps. And so, very disappointed that we didn't get to see in the first 2 weeks, see this kid play. And then when they do activate him in week 3, I maybe won't say he balled out, but it was a massively respectable showing for his first NFL game. He's got size, he's got speed, he's got hands. Seems like he's got a little rapport with Justin that can only grow over time. And so one of my notes, and I think it was actually as we talk about, I was going to mention him here as we're reviewing the Donkey game, but I was also going to mention a little bit when we talk about the Giants game coming up. Is he going to be active for that game? He better be. And real anxious to keep my eye on him because real anxious to see can he perform at that level, not an elite level, but a massively contributing level. 5 receptions is super respective, right? Especially from a big tight end that plays a different role than the wide receivers. So if we have him active, which why wouldn't we? Whoever's making that decision, I'd have to go smack him, even if it's Harbs, which, I respect him crazy. But why would you not have that kid active after his first pro game showing? And then let's see if he can keep it up. The NFL, what have you done for me lately, right? It's week to week. But so far, so good. Really, really excited about this kid. I think he can bring that pass catching dynamic that you need from a tight end. I think he's the guy to bring it. And my goodness, if he turns out to what I think he can turn out to be, Ortiz is like magic. He's like a magician, dude.
Yeah.
He picks people up in the 5th round like crazy. Crazy. So, obviously, we can go and talk about Cam Hart and Tarheeb. when we're talking about the defense. So defense held their own, other than those blown coverages. When they needed to, they kept us in the game, got us the ball back, so we'd go score twice at the end of the game. And that's Minter's defense. They bend, don't break. We're still top 5 defense as far as scoring defense goes. I think we dropped from number 3 to number 4 this week, but we're still top 5 defense. I think we're only going to get better, especially if we get Khalil back. We definitely need to get more pressure on the quarterback. Very disappointed we did not get nearly as much pressure on the quarterback this week. And that's a double-edged sword. You get too much pressure, you get too excited. Bo Nix is a guy who can, he can make you pay for it. He's a good scrambler. He's got legs. So you have to have a controlled pass rush against a guy like that. And, there's room for improvement this week against the Broncos. Tooley's now getting double teamed. Bud Dupree's kind of just holding down the other side. I'm not seeing these magical rush moves from him. We need to see one of these young guys step up, which right now I'd have to say is probably going to be, and I think you agree with me, we were chatting about this a little bit earlier, it's probably going to be Caleb Murphy that's going to be the guy that's going to step up and fill that role. Hard, really not seeing much out of him at this point. And thank goodness our interior D-line is as good as it is because they're really helping us out. And this rookie, Jamari Caldwell, kid's a real deal, dude.
Yeah, I hope our line starts picking it up because I'm looking and the only 2 guys that got a sack I can tell you is one of our safeties and a linebacker. So, and he's not even an outside linebacker. It's Troy Dye. So Troy Dye and Derwin James or interior, you know what I mean. Derwin James and
Mentors.
Say that again.
It's not Mentors.
Yeah,
we had to blitz. Right, it's not Mentor's thing. Mentor likes to rush with 4 and, force him to dink and dunk.
Yeah, exactly. So it'd be nice to get a couple, at least more pressure on the quarterback with those 4 guys, because I think if you just put pressure and let Dayon and Derwin just go just straight down to the quarterback, the last 3 games it showed they can do that. So like you were saying, if we can just get some more pressure, get Caleb Murphy to get going, hopefully Bud Dupree and Tooley find their rhythm a little bit more. And then Khalil Mack, he's going to be back to this season, they said. They said for sure because at first he wasn't even going to go on IR. And now he's on IR, so 4 to 6 weeks. So maximum 6 weeks, and then he's out for the rest of the season. I'm pretty sure that's how it works.
6 or 7.
Yeah. So I think he should be. Yeah. So I'm hopefully he's back within like these games right here, which is kind of the middle to the middle towards the end of the season. So hopefully he comes back and picks up how Khalil usually is, and hopefully that's when we need him the most. So hopefully everything can get picked up. I'm optimistic about it. It could be worse. There's some teams that have it worse. So I think our main thing going to the offense is our line. I'm just super scared about that. If Herbert goes down, which I saw him clinching a little bit here and there from some of those hard hits, we are screwed. I don't think you guys realize Trey Lance is not going to take us to the Super Bowl. So we need an O-line. He was a good preseason warrior, but he's a second string for a reason. So if we want to win a Super Bowl, which all of the fans are ready for, it's been since 1960, we're ready for a Super Bowl. You need an O-line to protect him. Joe Alt can't do everything himself. Mekhi Becton's probably going to be out next game, and Rashawn Slater's out for the season. So we got to do something. If it's a trade or a big pickup, we got to do something. You can't just hope that the guys you have are going to do it and then wait to get a big guy in the first round of the draft. This season's really promising, and I think you could save it with getting some good O-line.
We're 3-0 in the division. So we're sitting at the catbird seat, if you will. We're in control, right?
Yeah,
And you covered a lot there.
I know.
Remind me to come back to the O line, but I do want to talk first about Khalil. I think if you go back to the podcast that we did after the game where he got injured last week, right? It looked pretty bad when you saw the replay, but I was like, nah, it looks like the way it bent, it didn't bend that way. It bent this way. And so I think he had just dislocated the elbow versus literally tearing all kinds of ligaments and stuff. And so they confirmed that with imaging. And do you recall there was at least one season, if not two seasons, where J.J. Watt played with a big old brace on his elbow? So it's not unprecedented, and we know Khalil Mack's as tough as they come. I literally don't know if they make anybody tougher than that dude. He plays through so much shit. Unlike Joey, where you breathe on him and he's got a quad injury, which he's doing good over in Buffalo. Knock on wood, he stays healthy unless we have to play him in the playoffs. But yeah, I'm optimistic. Khalil will be back after his hiatus on IR. The first game back, I suspect he'll be back, and he'll be bandaged and braced, and he can still do what he does. You know, some of the movements to slap hands and some of that finer stuff on your pass rushes, he may have to rely a little bit more on his strength and power versus his finesse. But yeah, I think we dodged a bullet with that for sure. And so super optimistic we get him back and our pass rush can continue to evolve. On the offensive line, you're going to hear this from me every podcast until Ortiz makes this recipe. And that recipe is the O-line is not a finished product. It is not. I don't know how, Harbaugh has a way of always being optimistic and, really building up the guys that are on the roster. And he does that with Pip like crazy. And Pip's a great dude, but can't do it all by himself. And as far as I'm concerned, Mackay maybe a little less so, but the other three guys, they're liabilities. It's just, they have their moments, I guess is the best thing. I mean, I'm watching Zion get, he's like whiffs. I mean, like whiffs sometimes. Like he whiffed on what's the guy? The pass rusher, Allen, for Denver on that sick play that Justin made. Allen just turned him like a turnstile, but fortunately for us, Herbert's 6'6", 245, strong and fast, and he cast him aside and then ran to his but man, he was in on Herbs like that, right? So we need to find that veteran that becomes available for whatever reason, or if he's not already out there, that can play preferably right tackle versus interior. But I'll take anything at this point. We need some additional help in there. And by the way, I have not heard DeCalus's name called in any game relative to a penalty or a sack. So when you're an offensive lineman and your name's not getting called other than, oh, hey, he's in for Trey Pipkins, that's the only thing they mention about you, and then you don't hear anything, that's not bad. So, maybe this guy's coming in that we brought over from the Texans, right? With the trade with the Texans, and who knows? Maybe there's something more there, and we see this guy step up. But it's a long season, Brennan, and we've got a long, long way to go. We're going to have more injuries. It's going to happen, and every team will. It's just, making the playoffs and winning the Super Bowl is much of a test of attrition than anything else, and a little luck.
Yeah, going back to the O-line stuff, I just thought of something that I shouldn't be laughing, but it was pretty funny. One of Herbert's sacks came legit from Jamari getting. I've never seen an O-lineman fly like that. Jamari got, I don't know what he did, if he bull rushed Jamari, but I just look on my bottom left side of the frame on the TV, and Jamari's literally like 5 feet in the air going to Herbert. And he pretty much falls on Herbert. Like, first of all, how do you do that as an O-line? Come on, dude. And then, like, second of all, that shows, like, what Herbert's dealing with and what you were just saying previously. Like, I'll take anything we can get at this point, because that play right there shows you that Herbert is not safe.
Yeah, and talking about Trey, you brought up Trey not being able to take us to the Super Bowl. As fans sitting back and, doing what fans do, like we're doing here, obviously you are not going to take Trey, or probably about maybe 31, but, I'll be kind and say maybe there's 29 other quarterbacks in the league you would not take over Justin, especially being Chargers fans and Justin fans. But I will remind all of us, miracles do happen. There's this guy named Kurt Warner that got thrust into the starting role because our beloved Rodney Harrison in preseason ended up blowing out Trent Green's knee, which, by the way, a lot of you guys probably don't know. Trent Green was like an 8th round pick back when they had like 12 rounds. It was an 8th round pick of the Chargers. Okay. So he was actually a Charger as a rook, and we didn't keep him around. And then look what he turned out to be. He was a really talented quarterback. So Kurt Warner came on the scene, and what did he do? Win Super Bowls, greatest show on turf, and just lit the world up. And, he's got a gold jacket. So do you want to bet on that? Hell no. But, right now I'm sitting here thinking if Herbert goes down for a few plays, I'm feeling as good as I felt in a few seasons that Trey got a pretty good handle on this offense, and he could come in and keep the wheels turning. So I'll just leave it at that. Obviously, we want Herbs to finish the whole season, become the MVP, and take us to the promised land. And I think Harb's bringing that out of him. He's kind of bringing out the little badass in him. So this was a dogfight game, and we kind of gave it to Denver, kind of in the middle of the game, that blown coverage at the end of the first half. And then, they come out and we let JK look like he's even better than he is, which I think JK is a good running back, and I still wish we kept him, especially now with Najee down. I wish we would made room for JK. He wasn't commanding massive dollars. But, those series is right there was 17 unanswered points, where we went up from 10-0 down to 17-10. And like I said, it was like a 90% odds we were going to lose that game as we were heading into the fourth quarter. It took some special play by a bunch of folks, all 3 phases of the game. So we'll take it. Historically, those are games the Chargers would have lost 10 times out of 10 historically. And, as Harbs says, the worm has turned.
Yep, yeah, I agree. It was a good dogfight. I think at the end of the day, a win's a win. So we're going to be looking back at this and just being like, oh, good win, good win. It was tough, but at least we did. And I think a key thing that you said is, I was going to say it later on, but I'll just say it now too. I was going to say it with Jackson Dart. With our old coaching staff, Mike McCoy, Anthony Lynn, or Brandon Staley, I call them the big 3. They would notoriously lose this game. And I was going to say about something with Jackson Dart being like, they would let him have one of his best games of his career. But with Harbaugh, and pretty much like you said, the worm has turned, you're not seeing that too much often anymore. You're seeing more comebacks on the positive side, on our side of it now. And you're seeing, hey, they're getting some momentum, where in previous regimes they would take that and run with it until the end of the fourth quarter. Yet they're not. Most last year and this year, if they get momentum and they're starting to run away with it, I feel like this regime is really good with being able to turn it and being able to slow the players down and being able to actually win games from deficits, which is important, or winning games after giving away a good amount of points. And it's important. Those are championship level teams. So
Yeah, and I think hats off to Mentor for the defense that he runs. It allows the players to play and not think a whole lot and really just play and use their talent. So when, your back is against the wall and you have every opportunity to be nervous, they don't also have to overthink it. They can just play and flow. And that's really allowed our defense, I think, this last season and heading into the first 3 games of this season to really excel, even though there's room for improvement. Like we've mentioned, there's been some breakdowns, not too many like egregious penalties. Historically you go back to the Chargers and we're just getting stupid PI calls, right? They're not making those mistakes. It's just, blown coverage here, blown coverage there that can cost you a game. But I think as the season rolls on and guys get more comfortable in their roles, we've got a few new players, filling in. I think we're going to be in good shape. Regarding Jackson Dart, this is probably a good segue into the Giants game and talking about what we've got coming up here. We're flying to New York. The one thing, and you already mentioned this, that I hadn't chatted about was Mekhi Becton. Apparently he has a concussion. He's in concussion protocol. Let's, fingers crossed, Chargers fans, put good vibes out to the universe that Mekhi's ready to rock and roll come this coming Sunday. It's a Sunday game. It's for us, it'll be a Sunday morning game on the West Coast. So let's hope Mekhi is able to get back in the lineup. We need him desperately. So let's hope the cobwebs get cleared out and he gets cleared to play and we don't miss him this week. But heading into the Giants game, it has been announced. I don't know how official it is at this point, but it has been announced that Jackson Dart will be the starting quarterback over Russell Wilson this week. And I'll bring up 2 examples, one good, one bad, that this has worked out for the Chargers when an opposing team has started a young, maybe not a rookie like Jackson is, but a young quarterback. You guys remember a few years ago, Sean McDermott got cute and came into our house and played, what was his name? Peterman?
Nathan Peterman.
Yeah. I think we ended up having 5 picks, and I think he's never played another down in the league. Okay. It was an absolute catastrophe, and we just dominated the whole game. Couple seasons ago, I'll say it was maybe 2 seasons ago, it was under Staley, if I'm not mistaken. We go to Green Bay and we play the Packers, and Jordan Love is starting quarterback. We made him look like a Hall of Famer and a Super Bowl MVP. And I mean that. He balled against us, against Staley's defense, and he's never looked back from that game. He's balled out. And so I blame Brandon Staley for that. But so it could go both ways. With Jesse Minter and the talent we've got on our defense, I'm going to lean towards the Peterman side of things. If we get Jackson Dart and this kid's a rook, yeah, he's got the physical skills, but I'm feeling like a 5 turnover pick game. Jesse Minter's going to confuse the crap out of this kid. He's not going to know who's coming, who's going, who's where, and it should be to our advantage, but you still got to play the games.
I don't know if you remember, but this is the same. They went through this last year. This is the same exact example, but Derek Carr got injured. Spencer Rattler, he played his first NFL game against us, and he got clobbered. Jesse Minter was throwing so much at him that he did not know what was happening. Regardless if it's the Saints and it's the Giants. Honestly, the Giants this year and the Saints last year aren't too far apart as of right now. So that happened last year, and we had a good plan for him. So I'm always optimistic. It's very rare, knock on wood, but it's very rare for QBs, especially their first ever game, to ball out and win the game. Will they be good in the future? Yes, but their first game, it's historically known that it's not the best when you come in mid-season as a quarterback trying to win, after already taking team 2, team 3 reps. So, we'll see.
There's one quarterback I know who came in, I want to say it was week 2 against the Chiefs as a rookie. And the starting quarterback got injured in pregame because they were shooting up his sore ribs, ended up puncturing his lung. And the kid came in and balled out. Now, I don't think they won the game, but the kid came in and balled out. And people were like, who the hell is this kid? And he went on to become Offensive Rookie of the Year, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
And then he's ended up having the most completions, most passing yards, and a few other statistics in the first 5 years of his career. And that kid happens to play for the Bulls. If you guys didn't already know who the heck I was talking about, that was Justin. Okay, Justin he only, he didn't play the whole season. He missed week 1, right? It was week 2 that he came in. And he still balled out his rookie year. And everybody was like, thank God we got him and not Tua, right? Thank you, Miami. And I've got a buddy who's a Dolphins fan, and I remind him all the time. I'm like, thank you guys so much, because we would have taken Tua if you guys took Herbo. Yeah. Thank you so much for taking Tua. I'd much rather Herbo every day of the week, twice on Sunday. Yeah. Tua's reached his ceiling, I suspect. But anyway, I digress. We've got a game coming up this week. We're traveling all the way across the country. Go play the Giants. Don't sell these guys short. Yes, they're starting a rookie quarterback. At least that's what they're telling us right now. I think that is advantage Chargers. That being said, don't take these guys lightly. That's the one thing I would tell all of our fans. This is going to be an NFL game, and we are going to, if we're going to get the W, we're going to have to earn it. Okay, they've got some skilled players on both sides of the ball, right? Malik Neighbors, sophomore, he's a baller. We all know that, right? Half of you guys watching this pod right now wanted him over Joe All, right? So we know what Malik's all about. Now, this rookie's got to get him the damn ball. That could be a challenge. And then they got this kid out of Arizona State, which, man, I really, really wished we had drafted him. I really wanted him bad.
Me too.
Cam Scatterbo. Dude, this guy, I'm just a fan. I love this style of ball. I think it fits Harbaugh to a T. This guy does not go down after the first hit or the second or the third usually. He's got great balance, great strength. So we're going to have to bring our tackling skills in this game to get that kid down. So, and by the way, their lines, especially their D lines, really damn good. So we can have a repeat of what we just had this week against Denver, where Justin's getting harassed all day long. And at that point, all bets are off that Justin's going to put on his damn cape and play Superman again, right? I guarantee he's sore as hell. He's probably sitting in the ice bath right now as we're doing this pod. So we can't take this game lightly, is what I'm telling you guys. We're going to have to go earn this game. Harbaugh should have everybody ready. But if we come out of there with a W, it's because we earned it. These guys aren't pushovers.
Yeah, I agree. That may go into a play on our favor based off the running backs, because Cam Scatterbo can't play every single snap. That's why they always switch here and there. And the reason why he's playing is because Tyron Tracy, their RB1's out. And what I'm trying to say is if we do stop Cam Scatterbo, they don't really have any more running back weapons. And that's being said, you could say that with us to a certain extent, but I still think our weapons, like Haskins, are still better than their RB3 would be. So you just take him out of the equation when it comes to getting him behind the line of scrimmage and doing what we did to JK the first half of the Broncos game. If we do that, that's perfect. Yeah, Malik Neighbors, but the thing I'm worried about the most is their linebackers, Abdul Carter and Brian Burns. Those guys are absolute. Their defense has so many, like, those guys are savages, and the defense has so many weapons. Like, Kayvon Thibodeau's also on their team. On the defense. So,
that killer interception this week.
yeah. So Deontay Banks, they have a couple really good defensive players that could give our O-line a run for its money. So they gotta lock in there. But honestly, I'm not worried about their offense whatsoever. You can do only so much with a rookie quarterback and a second-year wide receiver, especially with our defense. Our defense is top 3, in my opinion. I don't think you're only going to be able to do so much to a certain extent with Derwin James and Dayon Henley on you and 300-pound interior linemen and cornerbacks that aren't going to give you silly little throws like college. He's not used to this. So I'm not too worried about the offense, but their defense is what can make them stay in the game. So as long as Giro just kills it on the offense and gives us a little bit of trickery too, I think it's going to be a really lopsided game. So 0-3 to a 3-0 team. So
yeah, and Giro again. Don't ever call a jet sweep again, dude.
I know.
Okay, I said that last week. I'm going to say it again this week. Just don't.
He loves to do that at the most unopportune times.
Yeah, I hate jet sweeps, man. I always have. They look great when they work, but man, they look horrible when they don't work. Yeah, I'll agree with you 100%, Brennan. 100%. I am less concerned about their offense against our defense than I am our offense against their defense. And if I were any opposing team playing the Chargers from this point forward until the Chargers prove differently, I would take the Denver Broncos, Vance Joseph's approach, and I would pressure them all day long. I would chase Justin around. I would sell out rushes, secondary rushes, safety rushes, I blitz like crazy and make our offensive line and Justin beat them. Now, Justin can beat them, okay? But that would be where I would, until they prove they can defend it, I would make them beat me. And so I'm not going to be shocked if we see our offensive line and Justin scrambling until we prove that we can man up and stop that. And then Justin can burn these guys, like Phillip used to do. Phillip was a master at reading defenses. I wish Justin had gotten a season with Phillip and got to ride in Phillip's SUV up from San Diego for a season, because there's so much knowledge Phillip could have imparted on him about reading defenses. Phillip was a master. I mean, you hear stories today about guys like Ray Lewis and some of these guys who are like, well, yeah, man, Phillip would, and JJ Watt's a big fan of Phillip's. He's like, man, Phillip would tell me we're misaligned in the defense we were in. And sure enough, he was right. He was like, he knew our defense better than we did. Justin's doing good and he's coming along, but my God, it would be light years ahead if he'd gotten one season with Phillip.
Yeah.
He's coming along and he's getting better at reading these defenses. Having Corey Lindley for those seasons that he had him, I think really helped at center. I think it really helped him a lot. And so Justin's capable. The key is our offensive line has to either step up and give Justin the time that he really kind of got in the first 2 weeks, or if they aren't, Justin's got to be able to beat them on that blitz and make them pay. And not just once. He's going to have to do it multiple times. And then you'll see opposing defenses back off and go, shit, okay. That's not the way to beat the Chargers. But right now, if I was an opposing defense, I'd be like, no, the Chargers got lucky. Denver had that game. Chargers got lucky. I'm going to make them prove that they can do that again.
Yeah. Yeah, we actually, I don't want to steer too far from, I'm sure game predictions are coming up soon, but Justin had a couple pretty good centers, so hopefully he's like learning that he can't rely too much on Bozeman, and like you said, he's got to figure out how to like beat him on certain situations. But like, I don't know if you remember Brian Balaga too. Balaga and Corey Lindsley. Those were
two games or something.
Say that again.
He played only like 2 games though.
But when he did play, I can tell you it makes Bozeman look like a Pop Warner player. Yeah, I remember him vividly. He just, what I'm trying to say, I'm not trying to get too far away. He dealt with some pretty good, centers. So now he's dealing with this, which he dealt with in 2022, when it was like Quisenberry and like tons of other dudes. So he's gonna learn how to deal with it. So,
and to piggyback right on that thought while it's fresh, and I was really excited about this, and I don't know how much Justin's getting one-on-one, but I suspect he's getting some. Who was Phillip's center during all of those years as Phillip was tearing apart defenses?
Nick Hardwick.
Happened to be a guy by the name of Nick Hardwick out of Purdue, right? And Hardwick happens to be our assistant O-line coach. And so, Nick, if you haven't been doing this, and I suspect you probably have a little bit, but there's got to be like a couple hours a week, an hour a week, where you can be sitting down with Justin going, hey, this is because Nick and Phillip were like this. Okay? Yeah. And Phillip couldn't have done what Phillip did without being on the exact same page with Nick. So Nick probably has almost as much knowledge as Phillip would have to impart on him. And so I would be really surprised if Nick's not like, they're doing a little film watching and going, hey, it's not just all the O-line, dude. You're as important as the O-line is at identifying, these blitzes. And by the way, let me show you how we used to read those because we were really good at it. So that's my hope. Nick, if you ever watch this pod, man, if you're not doing it, please do, because I think it would be huge to taking Herb to that next step that like the Tom Brady's had, the Peyton Manning's had, which was not just the physical, but the cerebral, especially Peyton. Peyton was crazy cerebral because he wasn't the most physically talented guy out there, but he was the smartest guy on the field every time he stepped on the field, and he made sure of it. And so Justin, I think as he continues to mature, it's amazing the parallels. If you look statistically, by the way, total digression, between him and Peyton in their first 5 seasons. Crazy if you look at all the stats and everybody's hating on Harbaugh. Well, guess what? Harbaugh's got almost the exact same stats Peyton had in his first 5 seasons. And Peyton's got a gold jacket, right? So, there's more to come out of Herbert is the big picture of what I'm touching on right here. Herbert's just scratching the surface of what he's capable of becoming. And he's got a head coach who was a very successful quarterback.
Yep. Yeah, I agree. That's what I was putting the point with, like, the centers and everything. He's only going to get better, in my opinion. He's proven that over and over again. He always makes adjustments based off the team and injuries and what he has to deal with. He's an elite quarterback. No matter what people say, I think it's a new age thing to hate on Herbert because people just want to jump on bandwagons and they don't want to have their own opinion, or do research about it. So he's an elite quarterback and he's going to make the adjustments when he needs to. So it's going to be a good season. Huh?
Did you see Acho came out and said,
yeah, so he's a Herbert lover now. Yeah, don't know. Stay on your side, man. You were social media quarterback. Remember what he said. So stay on your side. Stop praising the dude now because what he's been doing, he did last year. We're 3-0 now. We were 2-1 last season, and you were calling him a social media quarterback. And now we win one extra game, and you're saying he's better. He's been the same quarterback that he was this year than last year, making crazy throws, throwing for crazy yards. So I don't know what changed dramatically to make him think that.
Yeah, I don't know. Starting out 3-0 and winning in the division, but
Yeah.
my take on it was, Acho, you didn't know what the hell you were talking about before.
Exactly.
Why would we ever listen to you today? Even though you're praising our guy, why would we care what the hell you think? Because basically you've proven you don't know what the hell you're talking about. So
Yep.
Move along. If it makes you feel better to come out and, recognize Herbert for what he's shown all of us since his rookie season, all the power to you. But I give you literally no credibility whatsoever.
Yep.
Let's run through this game. Let's wrap this up here. What are the things you're going to be looking for in this game? What do you think strengths and weaknesses are? Obviously, we've got a rookie quarterback that if things hold, we get to the privilege of playing in his first start.
Yeah, so I think the keys to victory are put as much pressure on Jackson Dart. I think that's the number one thing. If you get a rookie quarterback that's never played one snap in a regular season game against legit elite starters, if you get him flustered, he's going to start turning the ball over. Historically, that's how it is in the NFL. So if you take him out of the equation, meaning getting him all flustered, it's going to be an easy day on defense. And then the last thing is just on offense, got to get the ball rolling on the passing and running. If we can get a steady pass, run, or run, pass, and keep getting down the field, perfect. And then the last thing, I had 3 keys, is we got to capitalize on turnovers when they happen. That's a big thing. Why? It defeats the whole purpose of the turnover if you go 3 and out, or even get a field goal in some certain situations. So that's my key to victories. I think if we do all of that, they're a young team, an experienced team when it comes to their star players now, not including Russell Wilson. They're a really, really young team. So if we can just get the veteran presence and Jesse Minter can execute, I think we're good. I think we're going to be good.
Yeah, I like it. Those are pretty much my 3 keys as well. Number one, we got this rook quarterback that we're going up against. What do rookies always talk about when they come into the NFL, right? I don't care what position it is. It's the speed of the game, right? So you have this rookie. The game's already going to feel fast to him. Jesse Minter can, with pressure and disguises, which they already do super well, they're gonna speed up his clock even more, and that tends to lead to turnovers. Realizing on turnovers is what can make a game get out of hand really quick. Mm-hmm. If you keep putting points up when you get a turnover and your defense is holding and your offense is scoring, or you're getting pick sixes, whatever it is, it's amazing how quickly you can end up, 41-12. A game can get out of hand really quick. And so that would go to kind of my third key, which you already touched on. And I've been pleasantly surprised these first 3 weeks with Giro. Herbert threw 47 times this week. Okay. That isn't, don't hate on me, guys, but that isn't the long-term recipe for success for this team. Mm-hmm. If we're going to go where we need to go, that's not how Harbaugh wants to play. He wants to have a more balanced attack. And when we need to, especially if we're protecting a lead and we have a 4-minute drive that we need to run out the clock, you got to be able to run the ball. And we haven't really shown yet that if we choose to, that we can run the ball down your throat. And so I want to see more balance. with the offense. Obviously, I want to see a win. And if the defense is playing us a certain way, clearly you're going to make in-game adjustments. But at this point, we've got this young stud, bell cow. Let's see a little bit more balance. The winning recipe isn't Herbert throwing 47.
Mm-hmm.
So I agree. 1, 2, and 3, man. Balance run versus pass, pressure this rookie QB. And if we are able to force turnovers, capitalize on them, because that's the nail in the coffin. When you start stretching out a lead, you're just literally it's a spike in the heart. The will to win of your opposition, the bigger that lead gets, and the more you keep their offense on the bench, which is a running game, the more you just sap their will to come out and try and take the game back. So I think we can come into this game and we can do that. And I think to see my prediction, I think if we're at that time,
let's do it.
Let's do the last minute summaries here. I think you'll see my prediction kind of reflects what I suspect we can do if we take care of our business.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. Who was the closest last week?
Brennan, this one, I'm going to call it a tie. You had chose that we would win 21-17. Okay, so really close. Just a little bit off. In fact, I might give you just a slight advantage, maybe by a point in the overall plus and minus. I was 27-21 with the win. Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, it's close to a draw, but if we don't do draws, I would say you eked me out last week by maybe a point or two in the overall. Yeah, it was pretty damn close for both of us, though.
Yeah.
I thought it was going to be a little closer. I thought Denver was going to put up a little more points than you did, but I thought we were going to put up a little bit more than you did. So they were good predictions. I leave it at that. And we got the dub.
Yep. So do you can go first since I went first last week.
Yes, sir. Put a lot of thought into this one as I was evaluating all the factors that are going to play into this, including traveling to the East Coast, playing a morning game, which always kind of throws your body clocks off for the opposing team. But at the end of the day, if we take care of our business, don't go shooting ourselves in the foot, and the opponent does what they're going to do and we do what we're going to do without us, like I said, shooting ourselves in the foot, I'm feeling a 33-17 win for the Chargers, and they're going to have a very pleasant flight back from New York.
Dang, alrighty. Yeah, I put in a lot of thought. I'm generally stuck for once on this, so I'm going to put it in our favor a lot. I just generally don't know how their offense is going to do based off of a rookie quarterback and a rookie running back, who are their two guys we've been talking about, and their second year wide receiver one. So I'm not sure how they're going to do with that, but I'm going to say 27-7.
I like it. We're a little further apart this week, so maybe there will be a clear-cut winner.
A clear-cut winner, yeah.
Which would be nice. All right, man. Good pod. I think we covered a lot of info. Hope you guys appreciated it. I'm sure you guys, you have an opinion as well. So, feel free. Go down in the comments. This is why we do this. By fans, for fans. So feel free to go down in the comments. Feel free to blast us, for a take you don't agree with. And we also love to hear if, we've got a take you do agree with. It's always nice to get a pat on the back, and some agreement as well. But otherwise, for myself and for Brennan, that's it for another episode of ChargersCast. We'll be back again, same time next week, where we will review the away game against the Giants, and we will preview the Week 5 matchup, home game against the Washington Redskins. Yes, you heard that right, and that was intentional. Against the Washington Redskins. I understand their starting sophomore QB may not play in that game. Is it up in the air, Brennan? Do you know anything at this point?
Yeah, so I don't know what his injury specifically was. It may have been a concussion. I know he was out last game. There's a chance for him not to play this game. But with who knows, with them rushing, there's a chance of him not playing our game. But as of right now, since it is 2 weeks away, I don't see why he shouldn't play. But we shall see.
They are. The Redskins are playing an AFC West opponent. I forget which one it is this week, but I will be watching that game since they're our next opponent to see if Jaden Daniels plays and how they fare against an opponent we've already beaten.
Yep. I will be doing the same as well.
Yeah. Obviously, I think we have a better chance if Jaden's not playing, but I got no problem playing him either. I think we stack up well against those guys. I believe Eckler's out for the season, isn't he?
I think he tore his ACL. Either that or his Achilles.
I think it was an Achilles too, like Najee. And it was a non-contact too, I believe. I think I saw the play. I was watching that game, and
a former Charger,
I had mixed emotions. What's that?
A former Charger and a current Charger, both tearing their Achilles.
Yeah. I had mixed emotions about it, because it's Austin, and I've got respect for Austin. But by the same token, I knew he was going to be a future opponent. And so I'm not sorry we aren't going to face him. I think he's still the same Austin Eckler that played for us. And so, sounds like Austin's out for the season as well. But we'll keep an eye on Jaden Daniels. We'll watch this game this week, see how they're going to fare. But without further ado, let's wrap this thing up. And Brennan?
Who's got it better than us?
Nobody, man. Nobody.
Bolt up.
Bolt up. Thanks for hanging out with us. We'll see you guys next week on ChargersCast. Hi, I'm Kirk Brewer, the creator and host of ChargersCast. I just wanted to say thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of ChargersCast. We really appreciate you engaging with the podcast. When I created ChargersCast, it was intended to be a podcast about everything Los Angeles Chargers from a fan perspective. It's by fans and for fans. So it's for you, and we really appreciate you being here. If you haven't done so already, please go down below, leave a comment, give us some feedback. We really love to hear from you. And if you haven't done so already, please subscribe and click the little bell so that you get notifications when new content drops. Again, thank you so much for tuning in to ChargersCast. And who's got it better than us? Nobody.